excited and we got nothing else for breakfast.
It's funny you should say that, Lyndon, because when I was on the ferry, Mr. Merritt said we might just bump into you. Now, for a man who's been travelling, it's nothing that special, but that just makes you a little bit happy. Yorkshire tea. How's that, kiddo?
Man.
I've only got 3 pouches, mate, but there you go. You have one each morning for your breakfast.
Yorkshire tea. Fantastic, mate. Cheers.
Morning everyone, we're here this morning on a lovely day in Ljubljana in Slovenia, and today I've got some special news, some exciting news. I've been invited to spend the day at Akrapovic Exhaust Systems and we're going to have a look around the factory. We've got the opportunity to do some filming, so I'll be able to share with you the experience. It's very rare, so I hope you like it, and we'll also be able to share some history about the company that makes some really special exhaust systems. I'm really looking forward to it. Let's go.
James Stewart Supercross title, Steve Ramone first Akrapovic MX1 title, number 5 Ryan Dungey, Cairoli, Sunderland 2017 Dakar, Cyril Dupre 2013 Dakar, and the beast itself, the Mioni winning Dakar bike. So here we are at the home of Akrapovic Exhausts, and I'm just outside of Igor Akrapovic's office, and what a wonderful collection of bikes and engines we've got here. Igor Akrapovic was actually a racer himself, and he spent so much time developing bikes, his engines, and tuning them, and he got into tuning the exhaust pipes, and people really appreciated the work that he did, so much so that his competitors were asking him to tune their exhaust systems and bikes too. So he's a guy that's really passionate about the sport and racing, and ultimately he ended up turning his hobby into his profession and built this business, Akrapovic, and now makes thousands of exhaust systems for bikes and cars all over the world, all kinds of different sports, and they've had massive success. Now this bike is one of the most special bikes here in this awesome display. This is the bike of Jorge Lorenzo from 2012 when he won the MotoGP World Championship. And for Akrapovic that was a really special title because it was the 100th title, World Championship title, for a vehicle with an Akrapovic exhaust system. So a very special bike from 2012 here. And also a point to note, this year they actually won the Moto3, Moto2 and MotoGP titles. All the bikes winning those titles with Akrapovic exhaust systems. Now some of you might recognise the number on this bike and maybe even the bike, but this is the bike of Colin Edwards, the Texas Tornado. And Colin and one of these bikes was the first bike and person to win a world championship for Akrapovic exhaust. So a lot of history right there in this machine. Here we are in the racing R&D department, and just above this desk here in the office I just saw all these amazing pictures and signatures of world champions and all the people that have visited the facility. It really is quite nice to see, and while I've not met a lot of these people, I sure have looked up to them over the years. Well, here we are in the durability testing facility at Akrapovic, and this is something that's really close to my heart because I'm an aerospace engineer by profession, and I worked in aerospace for 17 years and spent some number of years in the durability testing department for military aircraft. So it's really nice to see the application of some of the things I've been used to working with in the past on my passion, which is motorcycles. So this is Sabrina, and we see Sabrina riding the motorcycle, putting it through its paces for hours and hours on end, 16 hours a day sometimes. And what she does is gear changes, throttle applications, brakes, everything. She's basically riding the bike and putting the bike through its paces. We have here a Yamaha Tenere 700 in the facility today, just so happened to be here when I was here. And this dyno can take up to 230 horsepower and up to speeds of 350 kilometers an hour. It's self-fueled, so it can run for hours on end. The fuel supply is directly supplied to the bike, and it's just autonomous. It just runs and rides on its own like a machine. So a really special treat for Races to Places video series today, and that's to get the opportunity to stand next to Fabrizio Mione's Dakar winning bike, and to be here next to Basil bike as well. Two legendary bikes, one bike that's ridden around the world and the bike that started it all off, because this has got a lot of history. This was the first V-twin twin-cylinder big bike to win the Dakar, and I believe the only one, and that was in 2002 with Fabrizio Mione. Now, we called in to see the Fabrizio Mione Memorial the other day in Italy, and that was a really special experience. But to be here alongside this bike today is something special too. And if we look at the bikes, they're similar size, but this bike probably weighs about 40 kilograms more than this bike without the luggage. Obviously I've got the luggage. But I've raced the 450s in the Dakar, I've raced the 690 rally all over the world, and I've never ever managed to race or ride this KTM 950. But maybe I can talk nicely to the guys here at Akrapovic and have a ride on it today. I really hope so. So the guys are actually going to let me have a ride on it. Quite excited. Nice. Cool. Thank you. Thanks for doing it for us. Thank you, thanks. That's really awesome. So nice to ride one finally. But now I want to race it. So this is the materials test department at Akrapovic, and it's something that people don't often realise is the amount of testing and equipment that goes into making sure that the materials in these exhaust systems are right at the top of the game and to offer the best performance for the exhaust system. This is just the hardness testing machine, but there is chemical composition, gas content, tensile testing, everything in this facility. It really is amazing to see how much hard work goes into making sure these systems are at the top of the game. Now, not only do they test their own materials, but they also do a lot of work with foundries and suppliers of materials around the world to develop new materials and make sure we get the best possible materials for the job.
So what you see here is actually a cross section of a weld of 3 parts, holding 3 parts together. and it's under a stereoscope, so they can analyze how deep the weld is and the quality of the weld to make sure that it's absolutely where they need it to be.
Well, here we are in the heart of Akrapovic, and that's the dyno room. Now, as an engineer and somebody that loves to develop his own bikes and tinker with the engines and things like that, this is where it's at. It's exciting to be here, have my own bike on the dyno. But just to give you an idea, every bike that's won World Championships has been through this facility. MotoGP bikes, World Superbikes, MXGP bikes, and rally bikes even, the exhaust systems have all been developed on this very dyno. But just to give you an idea what goes into developing an exhaust system, the Honda of Colin Edwards that we saw upstairs, the first title that Akrapovic took was with that very bike. Akrapovic Exhaust developed 44 different configurations of exhaust systems for that bike in the 2-year period that they were racing. So it just goes to show the amount of hard work and development that goes into creating the best exhaust systems in the world. Here's a little bit of something that you might not know, that Akrapovic Exhaust Systems have been doing car exhausts for 10 years now. This is the state-of-the-art car dyno room where they can run cars up to 1,500 horsepower, front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. Pretty impressive facility. This is the measuring room here at Akrapovic, and this is just one of the many machines that they use to make sure that their exhaust systems fit absolutely perfectly. If you've ever bought one and fitted on a bike and all the holes line up absolutely perfect, it's thanks to the guys that work in this facility. There's 3D scanners, lasers, all kinds of different measuring devices to make sure that they get it absolutely spot on. So here we are in the foundry. Yes, Akrapovic have their own foundry, and they use a foundry to make complex titanium components like this one. And I'm just going to quickly run through the process. So first of all, they take a mold and they make a wax mold like this one, which is what's used to then make the components. Now this wax mold is then wrapped with ceramic materials, various layers like this, wrapped in ceramic and multiple layers, and then what they do is they melt the wax out of the ceramic, and that gives the void on the inside. Very thin, you can see the shape of the component on the inside of the ceramic from this cutaway. Then what they do is they put it in a furnace and they pour liquid titanium inside it, and then there's a very special process with rotation and everything to make sure that there's no air pockets in it, so to force all the air out, make sure they've got the titanium in all the correct places, the little corners and everything to make the component. Then once it's cured, they break the ceramic off, and this is what's left. A very complex and lightweight, thin-walled titanium component for the exhaust systems. Now that's one of the benefits of the foundry, is to make these complex components. But the other very useful thing is that they can use the foundry to recycle all the offcuts from the different processes throughout the factory, making the exhaust systems, melt the offcuts down and use that material again in the foundry to make these components. Really special to see the foundry here at Akrapovic. Okay, so this morning we were at the headquarters, head office of Akrapovic. It's where they've got the foundry, the engineering facilities and some R&D facilities, and now we're on the road. We're on a journey of about an hour to the production facility. So this is where all the production parts get manufactured. So it should be something completely different, and we'll be there in a few minutes and show you around. Now this is the production facility, and it's over 20,000 square meters in size. It's huge. Now to give you an idea how many exhaust systems Akrapovic make and sell every year, it's over 150,000. Now for a company of some 1,200, 1,200 employees, that's a lot of exhaust systems and a lot of work. And as you can see behind me, a lot of parts too. So just to my right here is the tube mill, and this really is the heart of the manufacturing process of the exhaust system here. Now every exhaust system has a tube typically, and it's all made in-house here. Mr. Akrapovic really wanted to be independent in the very early days when making the exhaust systems, and to be independent he needed to make his own tube. He needed to have the facility to make the tube. So he bought this state-of-the-art machine back in 1999 for 1.2 million German marks. That was a lot of money back then, and the company was relatively small. But the raw material comes in like this, in sheet form. It goes out of this roll into the machine, and it's spat out on the other side in a high tolerance, close tolerance titanium tube. That's the heart of the process here to make these exhaust systems. So once the tube has been made, the next step of the process is to bend it. And that's a prime example here of what these machines do. Now, I can't show you the machine because bending titanium tube is very, very difficult, but this just shows you how they do it, what the output is, and then this will get chopped up and placed into various exhaust systems. And here's another example, much smaller bore tube. You can see it's been pretty tightly bended and very accurate. So that's the next step of the process, is to bend the tube. So anything that's not tubular is usually in flat form, and that's done in this department, where it's cut on a 2D laser cutter, and if it needs to be shaped, it's done in various press machines and press forms here in this department also, to make components like this. So this is one of the, if not the most expensive machine in the production facility, and that's the 3D laser cutter. Now for me personally, cutting and shaping pieces of metal in my garage at home, I know how long and how painstaking it is. But to see these pieces going in, 5 seconds, and coming out complete, it's so glorious to see. Like, I want one of these. So obviously welding is a huge part of the process when making exhaust systems, and while some of it's done manually, painstakingly welded manually, a lot of the welding is done by these robots, welding robots. We're going to show you this robot in action. So this is the final assembly. This is where all the pieces that we've seen getting manufactured are put together. Bolts, clips, wire locking, springs, final assembly, placed in the packaging, put in the warehouse, and then distributed to over 80 countries around the world. This is an S1000RR BMW exhaust system, and it is a work of art. As you may know, there's quite a lot of carbon fibre components going to some of the exhaust systems that Akrapovic make. End caps, whole mufflers, heat shields, components like that. And those that follow me from rally racing will know that they also make parts like bash plates, engine covers for the rally bikes. They're all made in-house here in the production facility. This is the machine that cuts the carbon material, and then they go over to the next part of the process where they're laid up and treated. Well, what a fantastic day it's been here at the Akrapovic facilities. It's been really great to be shown around and to see some of the things that we probably would never get to see, and certainly you guys would never get to see. So I hope you enjoy what I've been able to bring to you and see these facilities and how they make these awesome exhaust systems here at the factory. I've had a really great time. I've just come back, it's just about to get dark, picked up the bike just to find out that the guys have serviced my exhaust system for me while I've been at the production facility. So Basil's got some new packing in the exhaust silencers and should be good for another 60,000 kilometers at least. So I'm super happy about that. So I'm going to go back to Ljubljana now, go get something to eat, but fantastic day here at Akrapovic.